Hello, and welcome to the third installment of my writing vlog, where I continue to talk about a combination of a piece of work that I've been trying to finish for years and my experience as a writer and my writing journey, my journey with this work and reflections from that piece of work, I suppose. It's now the start of November. It's November the 3rd. It's the night of November the 3rd. How did that happen? Because it was the 2nd and then it was the 1st, but time is flying. It's a beautifully rainy night outside. And I used to not enjoy weather like this so much, and it's still not great being caught out in the rain, but the rain in this country, I've said this many times, the rain in this country, or the rain here, falls straight down. It doesn't get blown in your face, and it doesn't feel the same. And weather like this reminds me of when I first came here, which was 7 years ago now, which was a surprise. I was already on a bit of a different journey anyway, but it confirmed that for me. Sometimes things work out in strange ways. I wanted to talk tonight about what happens when I get stuck with a piece of work and moving forward with that piece of work regardless. I talked last time about a little bit about sort of editing, or sort of about just not starting at the start and not thinking of writing as a linear process, which I don't think it necessarily has to be. Another lesson that I have learned with the benefit of time and experience, which I wish I'd learned so much sooner, was you can just keep going. At any point, you can just keep going. If you feel stuck, if you're stuck with a paragraph, with a word, with a section of work, you just keep going. And what I mean by that, because that's a useless phrase by itself, what I mean by that is I just stop working on the thing that I'm working on that moment and I move forward. I've developed a kind of shorthand, and there's nothing intelligent or complex about this. Whether I'm writing longhand or whether I'm working on a computer, if I'm in a moment where I can't think of a particular word, the old version of me, especially when I wrote a lot of short form articles, would just sit there for a while thinking, what works here? What's a great phrase? What should I do? Now I just drop that like a stone and I move on to the next thing. And I leave a note there, and it will either be like some parentheses. It'll literally just be some space within parentheses. And I know the editing version of Paul knows when he sees that what the writing version of Paul was thinking. Or it will be a word that's totally inappropriate, but I'll bold that word, or I'll underline it, or I'll circle it. And that will tell me, like, that is not the right word to use there. But that's what I needed at the time to move forward. Or that word, like, one of my favorite tools as a writer that I will never ever get sick of is a thesaurus, because I literally love words. I think words are great. And I'm excited by how words sound and how they look and how they work together, because a sentence is something that can have a purpose, and it is a tool, and fundamentally, like, writing is a task and a job, as well as something creative or something artistic. Like, sometimes as a writer you have to be practical as well as be artistic, but when you have time for it, and when I can tell I've been talking for too long because my computer's turned off. When you have the time for it, and when you have the chance to make, and the desire to make something really, really special, a sentence, there is so much you can do with words to create patterns and cadence, and words even hint at other words, and words have so much rhythm, and words have so much, even just history, even a word itself. You look up a word in the dictionary and it has a root, and it has a past, and it has a way that it used to be used, and some way that it transformed through time, and so it has relatives. It has like a family. Anyway, words matter a lot to me, and getting them right matters a lot, and I can get really hung up on that. And so what I do now is I don't. And I've just talked about words, but like, I mean, it can be sentences, it can be a paragraph, it can be a moment where I'm like, I know what I need to do here, but I don't know how to do it. So I'll just, on paper, like I'll draw a couple of lines, or I think they're called pipes sometimes, just straight vertical lines. And I'll scribble some note about what I'm trying to do there for later versions of Paul. I work in Google Docs most of the time, or I also just work in Notepad still on a computer because sometimes it's just easy. And I don't have any tools or anything to distract me from a blank page, any drop down menus or anything fancy. But in Google Docs, I'll just drag something and highlight it and put a note to one side and literally like berate myself and say, like, what are you talking about? What do you want? You want to talk about this? Don't forget to do this. And just move forward. And I'll just move forward and I'll start the next paragraph, or I'll leave a missing chunk in the middle of something and go like, this thing goes in here. Don't know what to do with it. And I wish I'd started doing this a lot more when I was a writer, when I was younger, because it wasn't so bad when you're just writing like a 500 word feature in a magazine, because 500 words for me has always fitted pretty much on a screen. So you can see the entirety of the work. And if you're caught with some part of it, whatever you're writing is probably going to be echoed somewhere else in the work anyway. Whereas if you're working with something that's 6,000 or 7,000 words, that's a chapter of a book, and there might be all sorts of things that you want to echo, and all sorts of words you don't want to reuse, and all sorts of ideas you want to hint at or re-express through other things that you've done. And that sort of stuff takes time to fashion and put together. And I'm not at that stage yet with this piece of work. I'm just trying to move forward so I can start putting all the different disparate bits of this I have together and say, like, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And then I have to try and shape it afterwards. I have to try and sort of whittle it down, or I have to sort of firm up the shape or chip at the marble more, so to speak, to get the definition. But right now I'm just trying to get a broad shape, and I'm trying to not finish this because it'll be finished when all that fine work is done, but have a loose body here. And the only way I'm ever going to get to that is if I just drop things. If I'm like, this isn't working, fuck it, what's next? This isn't what I can't work with this piece right now. What am I doing? And I know that sometimes I'm going to come back and I'm going to find some of these paragraphs and these unfinished bits, and I'm going to go like, I can't salvage this. This has to go in the bin, or I can't use this, or this is bad. And there's already a bit of this with the notes that I've collected over the years, where I've been going through things and I've been like, I put this to one side ages ago and I wanted to reuse it, and it's not great. And I don't know how much of it I can use. I don't know if this will work for you. All writing is individual. Everybody writes differently. And I think we change how we write through our lives, through our progress as writers as well. But maybe this might help you. Maybe it'll be useful for you when you're stuck writing things, to just drop it and move on, move to the next thing. Like do you imagine yourself writing a book and there are 10 chapters and you're stuck on chapter 2? Just write chapter 3. If you have an idea of what's going to happen next, or some other things you want to write about, move on and do those and come back to this later. Drop it, move on, move forward all the time. That's what I'm trying to remind myself right now, because if not, I will get stuck, like, I don't know, trying to chip out the nostril hairs of the nose of a statue where I haven't even given it a face yet, and I haven't given it arms, and I haven't given it legs. And that's kind of where I am right now. I've got all these pieces, but I don't know which are the arms and the legs. So why am I trying to super fashion those when I don't quite know where they're going yet? Did this make sense? Does any of this make sense? Is this helpful? Is this useful? It's going to be a hard November for me. I've got lots of different things that I want to do, and it's been a difficult year. I had a bit of superficial surgery recently, and I forgot that after surgery your calorific needs increase as wounds heal, and I've become Like, I'm fine. There's nothing dramatic. It's not a big deal. It's just this thing that had to happen. And then I was a bit sore. And then it's just like, I'm tired. I'm hungry all the time. And I have so much that I want to do. And the rent is still due. The bills still have to be paid. And it's been a very tough year financially for like just trying to stay afloat and things like that. So I want to keep doing things because I want to move forward. And I want to keep living where I live because I like it. And I want to keep being able to afford things and do the things that I do in my life. And I define myself as a writer. And if I'm not writing, you know, so there. Got to move forward, got to drop it and move on. Thanks for watching this. I will vlog you again soon, maybe in about a week or a bit more than that. Oh, that was the length between the last one. Also, point of order. These probably go at the start, don't they? Point of order. I do have a monthly update from October coming, but I'm afraid it's very slightly delayed. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say that having little bits of flesh chopped out of me was part of that, but also I think it was too many things on my plate, and I'm sorry. That will come very soon. Hold tight in the meantime. Thanks. See you soon.